In this video, it will be explained 10 reasons, 10 prophecies from God, for how it is known that a dirty bomb, or a suitcase nuke, will be detonated in Manhattan, New York City on September 25th, 2023. The date that this video is posted proves that this prediction is being made ahead of time, as does this time-stamped email and forensic notes PDF document. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. Reason number 1. The world came to the precipice of a nuclear holocaust in September 1983, and very few people know about it, and there was a movie made about it called The Man Who Saved the World. Reason number 2. In that same month, another prophecy God is using to point to the prediction is the Korean Airlines Flight 007 that was shot down by Russian jets. Reason number 3. The win by Japan in the 2023 World Baseball Classic over Team USA. Reason number 4. The bomb threat that was called into 911 in Manhattan, the location of the 9/11 events, that interrupted a court case involving President Trump in March of 2023. Reason number 5. The death of Colin Powell, former U.S. Secretary of State, known for his role in the pursuit of weapons of mass destruction leading up to the Iraq War. Reason number 6. The explosion at a strip mall in Columbia, Maryland in 2019. Prophetic reason number 7. The collapse of the car park in Manhattan in April of 2023. Prophetic reason number 8. The death of famous actor Harry Belafonte, who starred in a movie about an evacuation from New York due to radioactive waste. Prophetic reason number 9. The release of the new movie about the Manhattan Project to develop the world's first nuclear bomb, Oppenheimer, that was released in July of 2023. Prophetic reason number 10. The 2 bomb cyclones in 2019 that connect with the New England Patriots, a team that God has used as symbolism for America and the spiritual founding of America in Massachusetts. Prediction. Suitcase nuke will explode in New York City on September 25th, 2023. This prediction has been known for a number of years. September 25th has been known since May. However, this particular email was composed on September 14th, as is indicated in this email. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I'll forward it to you. The reason is because prior to now, September 14th, it was thought that it would be a dirty bomb, and so I made an email, the same email with a dirty bomb instead of a suitcase nuke, back in June, for example. So anyway, this email is documenting the prediction that a suitcase nuke will explode in Manhattan, New York City on September 25th, 2023. There will be a large-scale evacuation. The Man Who Saved the World is a movie about the true story of Stanislav Petrov, a former lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Defense Forces, and his role in preventing the 1983 Soviet nuclear false alarm incident from leading to nuclear holocaust. This is a must-watch movie, in my opinion. You should know the story anyway. I didn't know about it. Most people don't know about this. This is, the world came very, very close to a holocaust, a nuclear holocaust. And that's what this movie is about. It is said that had the false alarm occurred during another supervisor's shift, other than Stanislav Petrov's, any of the other supervisors would have followed protocol and confirmed that Russia was under attack, which would have led to Russia nuking America and a nuclear holocaust. Okay, so the computers malfunctioned, and had it not been for this particular man, the other supervisors would have gone along and confirmed or reported to their supervisors, and then it would have been game over for the world. It was an example of how God's hand has been on America throughout its history. In the Bible, a 40-year period is symbolic of judgment on a people or nation. The Soviet Union false alarm, and furthermore, I'm predicting that the new suitcase nuke that is predicted to explode on September 25th will lead to a mass evacuation, which is symbolized by the exodus of the Israelites out of Egypt, after which they wandered the desert for 40 years. And so this 40 years connection that I am getting at is also extremely relevant, because this dirty bomb or this suitcase nuke will lead to a evacuation, which is symbolized by the 40 years of the Exodus in the Bible. So in the Bible, a 40-year period is symbolic of judgment and also evacuation on a people or nation. The Soviet Union false alarm occurred in the early morning on September 26, 1983, which was the date 9/25/1983 in the US, which is exactly 40 years before the predicted dirty bomb, or rather suitcase nuke, event on September 25th, 2023. The isotope used for nuclear bombs is Pu-269. The Soviet Union false alarm on the date 9/26 hints at 269. Earlier in the same month, in 1983, as the Soviet false alarm incident, 269 people died when Korean Airlines Flight 007 was shot down by the Soviets. This incident, involving 269 deaths, is said to have magnified the danger of the Soviet false alarm nuclear bomb incident on the date 9/26, and nuclear bombs are made with isotope Pu-269. The reason why the predicted dirty bomb on September, or suitcase nuke, on September 25th, 2023 is the 40th anniversary of the Man Who Saved the World nuclear incident is that 40 years hints at the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt. They're wandering the desert for 40 years. After the exodus, they wandered the desert for 40 years, making 40 years exodus symbolism, which relates to the predicted dirty bomb or suitcase nuke in Manhattan and the predicted mass evacuation. As well, the crash of Flight 007 connects to the Russia nuclear incident. And by the way, this flight departed from the 49th state, and 49 is 7 times 7, which makes this a 3 sets of 7. And this is one thing that God uses repeatedly in his prophetic signs for judgment warning, because the walls of security of Jericho in the Bible collapsed in God's judgment after the Israelites enacted a symbolic 3 sets of 7. They marched around the walls once per day for 7 days, and then on the 7th day, they marched 7 times while blowing 7 trumpets. It was a 7 followed by a 7 times 7, which is what this is also, making this a judgment warning sign, like all of them, on America, because this was, as explained elsewhere, this was all about the U.S. congressmen on the flight. Let's see. What makes this even more fascinating is that a major part of this story is the Korean Airlines plane Flight 007, that it was shot down by a Russian jet just a few weeks prior. There was a U.S. prior to the nuclear incident. There was a U.S. congressman on board and on his way to an anniversary ceremony regarding the Korean War. Just prior to this, the congressman was in an exceptional interview, I don't know the name of the show, with Pat Buchanan, in which he was stating boldly the truth about communist operatives and the communist conspiracy within America. And so he is a big part of this story regarding Flight 007. There were other members of Congress on their way, but they were on the flight that was just behind Flight 007. And anyway, it's interesting, the coincidence, given that he was probably the biggest anti-communist congressman in Congress. So anyway, what was I saying? How the Flight 007 connects the Russia nuclear incident. And as explained in the email thread, the East Palestine train bomb on February 3rd, 2023, the date 2, 3, and 23, was exactly 40 biblical years, which is a year with 12 months of 30 days each in prophecy. That's a biblical year. So 40 biblical years exactly before the train bomb was the day of the Flight 007 crash on September 1st, 1983. The date 23 hints at 23. And it also was in 2023. And this is exactly, or 23 was exactly 90 days, which hints at the number 9, before the signs on 5/4/23. And the date 5/4 hints at 9. It's a multiple of 9. 5 plus 4 equals 9. And that makes this a pairing of 9 and 23, which God frequently does in his signs to confirm the signs and connections. As the Antichrist became president in 2009 and played basketball with jersey number 23 in high school. He's the basketball president. The date 5/4 also pairs with the number 9, 90 days. The 90 days connection to 5/4. Recall that 5/4 and 23 was the day a huge day for signs, including the surprise visit of the 44-year-old of 44 million. So what I mean by this is that Zelensky, the first Jewish leader of Ukraine, right before the beginning of the war, turned 44 years old when the country was made up of 44 million people before the exodus, the evacuation of Ukraine. And on this day, on 5/4, he made a surprise visit to the International Criminal Court, which I explained the relevance of that in the other 5/4 video. And that date was 4 times 4 days, as in the 44-year-old, before his visit to the G7 summit in Hiroshima, and that is symbolism for nuclear bombs. On 5/4, the 12th state passed a law regarding 12 weeks for abortions, and 5/4 is 12 times 12 days before the predicted dirty bomb or suitcase nuke on September 25th, 2023. The toxic train bomb and evacuation of East Palestine connects to the predicted toxic dirty bomb and evacuation, and the train bomb connects with the crash, 40 biblical years, to Flight 007, which connects to the Russia nuclear incident because 269 people died and Pu-269 is the material used in nuclear bombs. And so here we have in other words, this is the connection here. This paragraph here is a connection that connects. Not only is the Russia nuclear incident 40 years exactly, but it also connects through Flight 007 because it's 40 biblical years to the train bomb, which, as I just explained, also connects to September 25th. What is amazing is that Flight 007 crashed near an island. The story of this is about how it crashed near Sakhalin Island off the coast of Russia. It crashed on September 1st, 1983, exactly 40 years before Jimmy Buffett, who is known for his island escapism, died on Long Island on September 1st, 2023, which, as explained, connected to the escape from Burning Man, Exodus, evacuation, disaster sign. And also, by the way, Jimmy Buffett's island escapism connected with the escape from Maui sign, which is explained in the Jimmy Buffett video. Okay, and the island escapism death of Jimmy Buffett connects with the Burning Man evacuation, and which in turn connects to the Manhattan Island evacuation. Jimmy Buffett is known for his song Come Monday, and the Burning Man disaster and the predicted suitcase nuke in Manhattan Island will be on a Monday, and this will be an evacuation, just like an island escapism, okay? Anyway, the point is here, though, is that the story about this crash is all about how it crashed near Sakhalin Island. And it is a big story because it's a mystery, what happened. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories, which I'm not convinced of either way, whether they're true or not. And so the point is that there's island symbolism in this, and we are talking about it connecting to the dirty bomb or suitcase nuke evacuation from Manhattan Island. Anyway, watch the Jimmy Buffett video also. In God's signs, Japan is symbolism for the use of nuclear weapons. Japan was the location in which the first nuclear bombs were used in an act of war. Japan won the World Baseball Classic tournament by defeating the Team USA in the final game on March 21st, 2023. Trump is God's trumpet in his signs, and Japan's win over the USA team was the same day that a bomb threat was called into 911 in Manhattan. I don't mean the date 9/11 here. I'm talking about an emergency call called into 911, the emergency service 911 in Manhattan. Okay, so that's the location of the 9/11 events that delayed court proceedings in a court case involving President Trump. Okay, so again, God uses Trump is God's trumpet that he uses for his signs, trumpeting signs. Japan symbolizes nuclear weapons. They beat Team USA in the World Baseball Classic on the same day that a bomb threat was called into 911 in Manhattan, the location of the 9/11 events, that delayed court proceedings for a case involving President Trump. The 188th Hebrew word in Strong's Bible Concordance is woe! And is used in context of extreme judgment from God. Japan's win over Team USA on the day of the bomb threat related to Trump in Manhattan on March 21st, 2023, is exactly 188 days before the predicted dirty bomb or suitcase nuke explosion in Manhattan on September 25th, 2023. And so that's, by the way, a connection to Manhattan. So the bomb was called in. The bomb threat was called in Manhattan. It's related to Trump. And trumpeting woe! Is what it is because of the 188 connection. Furthermore, the 9/11 events in 9/11 were exactly 188 years after the only other time before an enemy attacked the nation's capital, because on 9/11/2001, the flight was flown into the Pentagon at the nation's capital. But 188 years exactly earlier, on 9/11 in 1813, was when the British landed at Washington's Mount Vernon estate and then proceeded to burn down the Capitol building and the White House before being chased out of Washington, D.C. on the same day by a hurricane, which was designed by God. And so this just a confirmation for you for the prophetic relevance of the number 188. And furthermore, its relation to Manhattan and 9/11, because the bomb threat was called into 911. This is a 9/11 sign. The bomb threat was called into 911. And we are predicting that the suitcase nuke will explode in Manhattan 188 days later. Trumpeted by Trump on the day that Japan was in the news for beating Team USA. Japan's symbolism for nuclear bombs. In the Bible, the Hebrews marched around the perimeter walls of security of the ancient city of Jericho before they collapsed in God's judgment. They did this march once per day for 7 days, and then on the 7th day, they marched 7 times while they blew 7 trumpets. It was a symbolic 3 sets of 7. That's a typo. It should say 3 sets of 7. Well, actually, it isn't. It isn't a typo. In this case, it is 7 times 7 symbolism. Okay? Because on the 7th day, they marched 7 times while 7 trumpets were blown. In fact, the 3 sets of 7 is really a 7 and then a 7 times 7, which is incidentally and not coincidentally the Omer count. From Passover to Feast of First Fruits, it's a symbolic 7 days. It changes every year. And then from that date, it is 7 times 7 days to Pentecost. And furthermore, the events in the book of Joshua, which is where the 3 sets of 7 comes from, are a parallel with the timing of events that lead to Pentecost. If you read that, you'll see that. In other words, it was a parallel with the Omer account, the book of Joshua. which again was a 7 followed by 7 times 7, and that's why this is relevant in this context, a 7 times 7, with the walls of security collapsing. Okay. The dirty bomb event, which I'm predicting, will symbolize America's walls of security and divine protection from God collapsing in his judgment. This is why exactly 7 times 7 months before the predicted dirty bomb on September 25th, 2023, or suitcase nuke, was the day that a huge gas explosion caused the collapse of a strip mall in Maryland just outside the perimeter of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. All right, you know what I missed when I wrote this? Is that Maryland is the 7th state. And so it was exactly what I'm saying. A 7 and a 3, and then a 7 times 7 for 3 sets of 7. Because exactly 7 times 7 months back from the predicted explosion in New York, we have this explosion in the 7th state, which gives us the 7 and 7 times 7 for 3 sets of 7, which is absolutely astounding. It makes it even more astounding. I didn't recognize that the first time. Wow. All right. Now, the explosion in Maryland occurred at 8 a.m. on the 8800 block of a street. According to Wikipedia, there are 88 places in America named Washington. Through the events of 9/11, God pointed to George Washington's walk down Wall Street after his first inauguration and into Trinity Chapel, where he consecrated the nation to God, saying that if the nation were to ever turn away from God, it would lose its divine protection and blessings. This is the reason for the story of the heroes of the 88th floor on 9/11, and why the Tribute in Lights art installation that commemorated the Twin Towers was made up of 88 searchlights. Greek letters are also numbers, and the numeric value of the name Jesus in Greek is 888. 88 is also 2 times 44, and this explosion on the 8800 block hints at the predicted second presidency for the 44th president and the Antichrist. Which is why this explosion at 8 a.m. on the 8800 block near the perimeter of the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. was exactly 4 times 4 months, which hints at 44, the 44th president, after the explosion, before the explosion of a bomb on Christmas morning in downtown Nashville in the 16th state to join the Union, and the number 16 in the 16th state hints at 4 times 4, which equals 44, and hints at 44 and the 44th president. Jesus was crucified at the age of 33, and this is why the bomb explosion on Christmas morning is exactly 33 months before the predicted dirty bomb or suitcase nuke explosion on September 25th, 2023. You know what I'm going to also add here? The day that the Israelites took Jericho after 3 sets of 7 was the 10th day of the first month, 110, which hints at the number 110. And on 9/11, there were 2 towers that collapsed that were 110 stories high. And Jesus, as the first arrival into Jerusalem officially in his triumphal entry, was also on the date 110. And so the 110 stories hints at the first coming, but 2 of them hints at the second coming. Because 110 hints at the date 110 or 110, which is symbolic of the first coming. And so, and in the taking of Jericho and the Israelites crossing on the date 110, there was a symbolic 3 sets of 7. And what I am saying here is that the walls of security will collapse. And there's this 3 sets of 7 connecting the explosion in the 7th state with 7 times 7 months to the bombing in Nashville on Christmas morning, which is symbolic of Christ. And then in turn that it connects with 33 months exactly because Christ died and was resurrected at the age of 33. God pairs the numbers 23 and 44 together in his signs to confirm the signs and connections and to point to the Antichrist, the 44th president who wore jersey number 23 while playing basketball in high school and will become the president again in 2023. The predicted dirty bomb in Manhattan on September 25th, 2023 will be exactly 4 times 40 days, which is exactly 23 weeks, after a 4-story car park in Manhattan collapsed just after 4 p.m. that sent 4 people to the hospital for injuries and buried or collapsed with 4 New York City Sheriff's Department police cars or staff cars. Okay, so that's a lot of 4s. That confirms the 4 times 40 days connection. And it's a 23 weeks connection, which confirms the pairing of 23 and 44 that hints at the Antichrist. But also, this car park was in the financial district, and I am predicting that the explosion will be on Wall Street. And that's also, by the way, why the car park that was 4 stories high collapsed just after 4 p.m. that sent 4 people to the hospital and collapsed on 4 sheriff's cars, is because the stock market in the financial district closes at 4 p.m. So the closing of the stock market hinted at the upcoming closing of Wall Street after the bomb explodes on Wall Street. In the Bible, the flood judgment from God lasted for 5 months. 9/25, September 25th, will be exactly 5 months after famous actor Harry Belafonte died. Belafonte starred in the movie The World, the Flesh, and the Devil. The plot of this movie involves a dust cloud of radioactive isotopes and an evacuation of New York City. The predicted dirty bomb or suitcase nuke event exactly 5 months after the death of Belafonte will involve a cloud of radioactive isotopes and an evacuation of New York City, just like is in the plot of the movie that he starred in. 9/25/2023, September 25th, will be 66 days after the release of the Oppenheimer movie about the Manhattan Project to develop the first nuclear bomb. The movie's film for IMAX theaters is said to be 11 miles long and weigh 600 pounds, which hints at 6 times 11 equals 66. And furthermore, the 11th triangular number is 66, which in a triangle of numbers, the last number in the 11th row is 66. And it's predicted that 66 days after the release of the movie that's about the Manhattan Project, there will be a movie about the Manhattan Project to develop the first nuclear bomb. There will be an explosion of a nuclear bomb in Manhattan. Former Secretary of State Colin Powell is known for his role regarding weapons of mass destruction leading up to the Iraq War. Powell was born in Manhattan, in New York, in the 11th state to join the Union. He was the 65th Secretary of State, and 65 hints at 6 plus 5 equals 11. Powell died, and furthermore on 9/11, never mind. Powell died on October 18th, 2021, exactly 101 weeks before a weapon of mass destruction is predicted to be used in Manhattan on September 25th, 2023. 111 weeks hints at 11. Powell died at 84 years old. The planet Uranus's orbit is 84 years, and Uranus hints at uranium because it was named after uranium. The discovery of uranium came just before it, the discovery of Uranus. And uranium is used in nuclear bombs. I'll say this too. On 9/11, the Dow Jones was stuck at 9,605, which hinted at 9, and then 6 and 5 hinted at 6 plus 5 equals 11. That was a 9/11 sign too, which is a precedent, if you will, or a confirmation for the relevance of his number 65 adding to and equaling 11. Furthermore, on the second plane on 9/11, it had 56 passengers and had a crew of 9. And so 5 plus 6 equals 11. So the second plane was symbolic of 9/11. The first plane had a crew of 11 people and 81 passengers, and 81 hints at 8 plus 1 equals 9, and with its crew of 11, that was another hint at 9/11. So that's just more relevance of the fact that Colin Powell, being the 65th Secretary of State, hints at the number 11, which is why his death 101 weeks before hints at 11. Furthermore, the 11 is the number, another 101. It was 101 passengers that arrived on the Mayflower at the spiritual founding of America. And there are only 2 nations in a history of the world that were founded on a relationship with God, Israel and America. And also John Winthrop arrived with the other, with the Pilgrims, the other 10 years later after the Mayflower, with his flotilla of 11 ships, in which he then delivered his famous City on a Shining Hill speech that was derived from Deuteronomy 28, which was regarding the promises of curses and blessings for the Israelites after they entered the Promised Land, and the Pilgrims saw their crossing of the Atlantic as analogous to the Israelites crossing the Jordan River. And the number 11 symbolizes God's promises of blessings and curses, and also the judgment warning of the Titanic is pointing to the Mayflower with the 101 passengers, because on the Titanic, as we now know from the new images, that the serial number on its propeller is 101. God uses records to confirm his signs. In the Bible, the flood judgment occurred 1,656 years after Adam. September 25th, 2023 will be exactly 1,656 days after a bomb cyclone with a record-breaking barometric pressure on March 13th, 2019. This date, 3/13, in 2019, was shortly after the record lowest, as in the record lowest barometric pressure, record lowest barometric pressure in the bomb cyclone on the date 3/13 was shortly after the record lowest scoring Super Bowl that involved the New England Patriots and a score of 3-13. And as explained in other videos, that Super Bowl is a 9/11 sign. Okay? In the prophetic book of Revelation in the Bible, the number 144 is prominent and prophetic. September 25th, 2023 will be exactly 1,440 days after another bomb cyclone with a record barometric low pressure over New England on October 17th, 2019, which was the same year that the New England Patriots won the record lowest scoring Super Bowl. It was reported that the goalposts of the New England Patriots practice field had been moved by the winds in the storm. 1,140 days hints at the 1,440th word in Strong's Bible Concordance. That is the word 70. It's the Greek word for 70. Logan International Airport, from where the flights on 9/11 departed, recorded a wind gust of 70 miles per hour. This wind storm that moved the two goalposts of the Patriots, the New England Patriots practice field, was 9 months and 11 days. Again, the flights on 9/11 departed from Logan Airport, where the wind gust was 70 miles per hour on this other prophetic 9/11 sign date. Anyway, the Patriots goalposts were moved 9 months and 11 days after the prophetic double doink. The two goalposts of the Patriots practice field were 9 months and 11 days after the double doink playoff game, in which the game ended with an attempted field goal that failed when the football bounced off the goalpost and then ricocheted and bounced off the cross beam of the goalpost and back into the end zone. The end zone is symbolism for the end times period that is described in Bible prophecy. Obviously, I'm just scratching the surface of that prophetic sign, which I can't get into in this video, but I've explained it in many other videos, that double doink in Chicago with the Philadelphia Eagles and on, the Antichrist is from Chicago. This is merely scratch, and he'll have a double doink presidency. Furthermore, the uprights of goalposts in football are symbolic of the two towers that were struck, hence the double doink on 9/11 of the two planes into the two towers. This is, and hence the 9 months and 11 days connection to the other two goalposts moving in the wind, due to the wind in the prophetic storm here, which is connected with a prophetic 1,440 days to the predicted follow-up to the judgment warning on 9/11, which will be the predicted suitcase nuke on September 25th, 2023. This is extremely prophetic, this paragraph here. I hope I explained it properly. This is merely scratching the surface of the reasons for how this prediction is known in advance. For more information, please visit odyssey.com, spelled Odyssee, video channel Harris Crash Prediction, and also read the website trumpprediction.com. Aliens and UFOs are demons masquerading as aliens and UFOs. Most people's spiritual experiences are demonic deception, especially if they are not a true follower of Christ. God became a man and died a horrible death at the hand of the ruler of this world, Satan, and then defeated death for you, so that you too can overcome death, which is the price that must be paid for sin. It is time to repent, which means to change one's ways and turn to God and become a disciple of Jesus. Please leave a like and upvote the video, and once this prediction has come to pass, share this video with everyone you know, and more, don't stop sharing it everywhere in social media. It is essential that everyone immediately read the homepage of my website, trumpprediction.com. If you are watching this on the YouTube platform, please note that not all of the videos are on YouTube. You need to switch to the bitchute.com or the odyssey.com channel. And do it now in case you aren't able to later.